What's up, everyone? It's back with another episode of Chatting with a Natty. I just woke up, I'm not gonna lie. Not gonna lie. Right? Boom, boom. We're moving and grooving. Hello. What's up, bro?
What's up, my dude?
Let me turn my volume up. How are you?
I'm good, bro. I'm good. I won't lie. I just woke up too.
How was the posing call?
It was good, man. I've been kind of getting my feet a little bit wet in the like posing realm because a lot of people admired my posing when last time I competed. So wanted to kind of give the coaching a try.
Let's go. How long have you been a pro?
I literally just turned pro this past November.
Congratulations at Ben Wieters.
Yep, Ben Wieters.
How did that work? Because I'm still not fully understanding as to like how do you get a pro card at Ben Wieters? Is it just through class or overall? How does that?
So compared to other shows, the Ben Wieters, they do the top two overall. So I had to win my class and I had to place top two overall.
In classic?
Yes. And in
I
bodybuilding as well. So it was pretty tough. I think they only gave out, it depends on the 35 plus too. Like they gave out more than like four pro cards, but like, you know,
so you did classic and open?
I did do classic and open. I got my pro card in open bodybuilding. I think I placed third in classic.
Gotcha, gotcha. And do you have a coach?
Yeah, Will Moxley.
Okay, shout out to Will. That's
Yeah,
dope.
shout out Will.
How long have you been competing for?
I started competing. My first show was in August of 2024. Um, my I had just I did about a 1 year prep for that. My coach, me and my coach met when I finished playing college baseball. Was working at a gym, and he was pretty much asking me if I was interested in competing, and I was like, I really don't have the money. I kind of want to just wait on when I have the funds and when I'm out of college. I then did like a 6 week program with him because I was going to be moving to a different college. Kind of wanted to look good after the summer was over. After the 6 weeks, I was like, well, screw it. Why not? Why not just try out a show? So competed in August of 2024 at the NPC Midwest Naturals. Then I competed at the Casey Kingdom show for the NAMBF about a couple weeks later. Then, since I won my overall in classic physique at the Midwest Naturals, we then did like a bulk, and we prepped all the way to the Ben Wieters, and yeah, that's where I got my pro card.
That's beautiful, bro. That's beautiful. 2 years in the game.
Yeah, I already had a decent amount of muscle mass. We just kind of had to hone in on my weak points and just really because when I was playing baseball, I sat at about 220 pounds. Wasn't like a bodybuilding 220 pounds, but I was still sitting at that weight, so I still had a good amount of size on me.
What were the weaknesses that you and your coach identified?
The biggest weaknesses in my physique were my chest and my back. I'm a very limb dominant guy,
Mm,
especially with my legs. That's why I kind of have the nickname Quad Father, is because like I have a really big right leg compared to my left.
I saw that.
Yeah, that was actually from a football injury. I tore my ACL when I was in eighth grade, and the way that they did the procedure, instead of drilling through my growth plate, because I was only 13, they took my IT band and stretched it, and they replaced it that way. And when I got out of my surgery, they were noticing like my tendon was protruding out like really far from my right quad. My mom was pretty concerned about it, asking like if this was a problem, but my physical therapist told me basically like if it doesn't hurt, then there's really no point in fixing it.
Let's go. I get it. I get it. Interesting. So, quad father, baseball was the sport that you transitioned into bodybuilding from.
Yes, sir.
Interesting. Interesting. I don't think I've met a baseballer yet. Or a
Yeah,
baseball.
it was actually a cool transition because like literally when I was in baseball, like I was a muscular like a more muscular guy. Like everybody was mistaking me for like a football player, and everybody was telling me that I should get into bodybuilding even when I was like at a very young age.
Interesting. That's amazing. And you said that your weaknesses were chest and back, and you've always
Yep.
been very limb dominant.
Hmm.
Okay, okay. When you got your pro card, what's on the horizon for you? Like, what do you want to achieve in this sport?
Oh, I definitely want like to kind of take the Natty road and compete for the Mr. Olympia. Um, I definitely have a lot of size to gain because when I competed at the Ben Weeders, I weighed in at about 195, and the weight cap went from like 224 to 234. So I have like a huge kind of gap between like the weight cap and what I need to like gain.
How tall are you?
About 6'1".
Okay. And as you continue to progress within your bodybuilding career, is your goal to stay natural the entire time, or more so gauge it as you continue to move forward?
Mainly gauge. But since I'm only 22, I really don't want to mess with any anabolics or anything like that because I know the side effects and I just know that it can be detrimental in the long run. So I definitely want to take this natural route as
Okay.
long as humanly possible.
Okay. Okay. And then when it comes to the gauging and the consideration of doing that in the future, let's say, just for hypothetical purposes, let's say like your age 33, so 10 years have passed, all right? And people, maybe it's a different coach, or maybe it's like an athlete that you really respect, and he's like going like, yo, it's been 10 years, you've hit your natural limit, man, you've hit your natural limit, and you've competed, you've had a good 10 years of competing as a natural, but people are like whispering in your ear like, now it's time for you to hop on. What would be the goal for hopping on? Like, what would that bring you to?
I would say if there's like a good chance that I can compete in the in compete for like if there's a good chance that I can like be top 10 or compete for Mr. Olympia,
Hmm.
that's probably when I would take that. But if there's no possible chance that like I would at least place top 10, I would definitely keep it in the natural state because at the end of the day, I want to have a family in the future and I want to actually reproduce and like have kids. So that's the biggest thing that I want and I don't want to ruin that just to, just to be in a Mr. Olympia stage, you know.
All right, I think we're getting somewhere here. I think we're getting somewhere here. And thank you for one. Thank you for hopping on this call with me.
Yeah, of course, man. Of course.
These conversations are incredibly meaningful. Okay, so in the event, like let's say we're going to do the hypothetical. So 10 years in the future, and there are people saying, "Listen, if you were to hop on gear, you could get in the top 10 Mr. Olympia. If you were to hop on gear, right?" My question, and again, just to give you some level setting, I'm like a what's the word? Filmmaker,
Yeah,
documentarian. Yeah, so like I love the sport, but I'm very just generally interested in like the psychology of athletes in the sport.
gotcha.
And this could like if I was in like the 1970s, I would be asking Arnold Schwarzenegger these questions. You
No, for
know,
sure, for sure.
and I'm sure Arnold would have very interesting answers. I'm sure he would.
Yeah, for sure, for sure.
So, okay, so 10 years, someone is saying like if you were to hop on steroids, you would definitely place in top 10 Mr. Olympia. What do you get out of placing in top 10 Mr. Olympia?
I would say it's definitely the kind of a recognition thing. Like I'm definitely a recognition based guy, and it's cool to kind of see like how much my hard work goes into kind of that placing. I would definitely be happy with it if I place top 10. Like let's say the first year that I try to compete in there. I would definitely work a little harder. Like not saying I would take more drugs, but I would work on the weak points that were based for me. Because, for example, if my coach has talked to me about this, and he said to if I ever were to hop on, he would make it in the most healthy way possible. Healthy, you know. So it wouldn't be like me blasting like grams and grams of gear, but it would just be in the safest way possible, like not, just keeping it manageable and understanding my health markers. And even to be honest, even if I took a blood test right now and it just was saying that it would be way more conducive for me to not take anything, I would just stay natural, because I built an insane physique on a natural standpoint. So I'm not easily persuaded by people to hop on steroids because I've even had people like want me to hop on steroids literally right after I turn pro, you know? It's just not conducive for what I have going on. And plus and also another thing too, outside of the bodybuilding realm, I have to account for my professional career because when
Tell me about
I'm
that.
yeah, I'm currently going to the University of Missouri for mechanical engineering, and there's a lot of federal companies that I would like to be a part of. So a lot of federal companies have strict drug policies. So that inclines me more to stay on the natural side.
Okay, okay. Um, there's a question that's forming in my head. I'm loving your response, and I appreciate the perspective. Going back to the desire for recognition, which is something that I think many athletes across the board can relate to. The question I submit to you, well, I'm thinking of a couple of things. Firstly, I'll ask you the question. So you got your pro card in open bodybuilding, right? So I understand the desire for recognition. That's something I relate to as well. How do we feel about the top 10 athletes in open bodybuilding in 2025? The top,
2025. So
yeah.
you're talking about like Samson Dowda, Derek Lunsford, all those guys. I I do kind of agree with a lot of the people that are kind of complaining about the conditioning of all the athletes because personally I thought like this will probably be a little controversial. I personally thought Derek Lunsford and I think Hottie should have won the 2025 Mr. Olympia because I just didn't feel like Derek Lunsford brought his best package conditioning wise. And don't get me wrong, I'm not a judge by any means. I don't know the standards when I'm not the most knowledgeable of the standards when it comes to Olympia level judging, but yeah, Derek just didn't have the conditioning for me. I definitely think Andrew Jacked should have placed a little higher. Maybe like Hottie, Andrew, and then Derek, because Andrew Jack brought his best package by far, in my opinion.
Gotcha, gotcha. Um, physiques wise, how do we feel about like so you got a chance again, I'm playing the hypothetical coach. Bro, you got a chance to exist in that top 10 lineup.
Mm.
If you blast some gear, bro, how do we feel about your physique looking comparable to a Derek Lunsford, a Samson Dowda, an Andrew Jack, a Hattie Chupin?
It would be that's a tough question to ask because like I would be a couple years down the line, but I would say like especially with my legs, I could definitely stack up to them if I of course, hypothetically, I put in the work and like I did everything correctly to what a pro level would do. I definitely think at least my legs could stack up to them really well. Because even though I have kind of the distinguishing difference in the legs, my left leg is still definitely like very very solid. Um, arms, I definitely think I could stack up pretty well arms wise. Because like I said, I'm a very limb dominant guy. I would definitely get blown out of the water chest and back wise though.
Okay, I'll phrase it to you a different way. Um, I'm sure you may have seen that freaking AI trend that happened like a
Oh
couple
yeah.
months ago, where enhanced and natural athletes, which is like that's a whole other thing, but enhanced and
Yeah.
natural athletes were posting like AI enhanced photos of themselves,
Mhm.
like 10 or 20 pounds added muscle, right?
Mhm.
So, all right, so you see your natural physique, right?
Yeah.
And as you continue to build, we're going to go with the 10-year timeline again. So you keep building your natural physique and you're getting bigger, you're getting more muscle density, more quality, et cetera, et cetera.
Mhm.
Steroids and AI enhancements adds, let's say, 20, 30, 40, maybe even 50 pounds of muscle to your frame.
Mhm.
The question I want to ask you is when you imagine the best version of your natural physique and you compare it to the best version of an enhanced you, which one do you prefer the physique of?
If we're going strictly based off looks, the enhanced version, like
Okay.
because it's fuller, it has a lot more muscle size. Like in a IFBB Pro stage, like it would be more desirable, you know.
Okay. Yeah, this is good to know. This is very good insight. Yeah, I'm fascinated by it because it just seems from like a mainstream perspective, from like an outsider looking in, from a person who only just fell in love with the sport in the same amount of time that you did, um, those physiques look like drastically out of proportion. They don't look real. They look they it just doesn't look human. It looks like freaks of nature.
I feel that.
Yeah, but I guess maybe it's like I don't know, like it's not a transferable physique over to like a different sport or activity or any kind of functional thing.
So so you're wanting like your main opinion is like you want to see like physiques that are more transferable to like, let's say like I competed like a couple weeks ago. You want and like there's a pickup basketball game at your church. You were saying like you want to see somebody's physique having like that transferable like functionality where you can compete one day and you can play pickup basketball the next, you know?
Yeah, what you're
Okay.
describing is a hybrid athlete, and
Yeah.
I'm a huge fan of hybrid athletes.
Okay. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, but more so closer to the point is I really am just genuinely passionate about like natural peaks,
I
like
get you. Yeah.
a peaked natural athlete, a peaked natural physique, whether it be in bodybuilding. Like bodybuilding is just the sport that I'm currently focusing on, and I
Gotcha.
love this sport. I love the sport, but I'm focusing on the natural athletes in this sport first, and I
Gotcha.
find that it's so fascinating that this is the only sport. This is the only sport where steroids are openly incentivized to reach the toppest peak. It's
Gotcha.
openly incentivized. There's no other sport where you can point to where it's like, hey, you're good right now, but if you want to be the best, if you want to be the greatest of all time, you have to take these steroids. There's no one
Gotcha.
else openly talking about it in that way. And I find that to be
Mhm.
fascinating.
No, for sure. And yeah, I definitely feel like that is a bit of a problem too. Like a lot of like younger guys and a lot of just people that literally just get into the sport, they think like literally right when you get into the sport, you have to take the steroids. You have to do whatever it takes to get because like I'm even seeing like certain people on Instagram, like there are dudes that are 15, 16 going on steroids just to look better, get stronger, and just be stronger than the average person. I don't agree with that. Like I 100% don't agree with that because I've like even playing baseball, I was able to build a strong, a powerful, and fast physique without the use of any steroids. Like literally, my mom would didn't even let me take protein powder up until like I was 18. You know, like so I 100% agree with you that like the natural physiques should become more incentivized.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I mean, we're on the same page with that. I'm still thinking about, I'm thinking about like, I almost want to do like a poll of how many people would prefer to see you. You would want to not to rag on a top Mr. Olympia competitor in the open bodybuilding division, but you would want to have that body like day in and day out, walking around like that big.
That yeah, that's a tough question because like it's no, yeah, trust me, I like it's I will say, like, it definitely is cool being like the bigger guy. Like, I don't know. It's kind of like Brian Straw when he said, because I remember in an interview he was talking like his interviewer asked him like, "Do you like being this big guy? Like, do you like barely able to fit in the in like a seat for a airplane?" He was like, "Yeah, it definitely gets hard, especially with the eating and like being in close spaces. But to be
Mm,
honest, I like being that big guy. I
mm.
like the stature of it."
I get it. I get it. This reminds me of there's a time um, I have a tall friend, and I met him when I had first gotten to LA,
Hmm.
and this is a bit of an aside, but like I started in LA homeless, and I
Oh
was
shit. Okay.
yeah, yeah, and I was staying in a shelter in Skid Row, and I met my he's now a close friend of mine, like he's like a family member of mine, like I'm like his godfather to his kids and stuff like that, right? But we
Yeah.
both met at that pivotal moment in our lives at a shelter, And every weekend, like we'd try to get out of the shelter and like feel like we're not homeless.
Yeah,
So we would go to like bars and clubs in downtown LA, and I always noticed how because he's tall, right?
yeah,
So we would move through the bar or the club, and wherever we went, like girls just like just looked straight
yeah.
up. And perhaps there's something to that whole size and recognition, but it's not something I can fully relate to because I've never been motivated by like I've never been motivated by size. I've always been motivated by, if I'm being completely honest, women.
Okay, yeah. No, dude, trust me, like that's the one of the main reasons I started working out. Like
Right,
women,
right.
yeah, women are definitely like, yeah, for sure, for sure.
And I guess that's kind of my whole point where and again, like I've never met a woman who sees Derek Lunsford or Samson Dowda or Hattie Chupon and goes like, oh my God, I want that man. I've never met a woman who says that.
No,
And
for sure, for
it's
sure.
more likely I would see a woman who's like slobbering over, I don't know, who's the current freaking that guy in Werther, Jacob Elordi, you
Jacob
know?
Elordi. Oh yeah, yeah, because like his physique, yeah, he's a tall guy, but he has like a skinny physique for sure.
That's a physique.
No, for sure, for
That's a
sure.
physique. So,
Yeah,
yeah, so it's like when I think about the whole idea of getting bigger and bigger and bigger, which I understand, like that's the whole nature of bodybuilding. I do understand that. But when you push steroids and you get that drastically out of proportion, from my perspective, you're just classing yourself out of being attractive to women. You know?
fair enough. Yeah, I totally get that for sure. And I don't know, my big thing with that is like it definitely was for women, and I definitely wanted to like be bigger to get more girls and stuff like that. But then my goals became a lot more oriented with myself because I was wanting to impress women and like be the guy on campus that gets all the girls, but it was at a point where it kind of left me feeling very empty being in that state. So, kind of making my gym goals and just my goals more self-oriented and just being like, okay, this year my chest got bigger or I hit a 275 pound bench press. That's more fulfilling to me than my physique looks good enough to have Sydney, Kelsey, and all like I I I 100% relate to you like when it comes to women, but as I've progressed in my gym journey, like it definitely became a lot more about me and just my goals.
I think we all arrived there. I think we all
For
arrived
sure.
there. Because pretty soon, at some point eventually, every gym bro arrives at the understanding that the girls don't care. They don't care about your biceps or your
No, yeah, and that came to a realization too that like many women don't like they care to an extent. Like for reference, like I talk to my buddies about women a lot, and I always say like your looks is kind of like the door. Your looks will get you in the room, but everything else will make them stay, you know? Because if you're just drop dead, like ugly and unattractive, you're not like let's be honest, you're not gonna have a ton of women on your side. But if you
unless
have
you're
the
rich.
looks,
Unless
huh?
you're rich.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's very true. That's very
That
true.
that'll make you cute very quickly.
Yeah, exactly. That's very true. But personally, like if you have that just ugly demeanor and just ugly personality, that they're not going to stay for that long. You have to have like other deplorable aspects of yourself other than your physique or your money, and you know, it it definitely makes that difference, and that's kind of what I figured out early on. The fact that I kind of based my life not completely on bodybuilding and just building my physique and understanding that I like to watch movies, I like to watch anime. Like there's other interesting things about me that I can talk to other people about, and that's what makes me interesting, not just my physique.
Deep, deep. Um, bit of inside. What kind of anime? Like what are your anime go tos?
I'm definitely like a newer anime guy because like literally the first anime that I watched all the way through was Baki. Then I went
All the way
over
through,
to
huh?
Yeah, then I went
Right.
over to My Hero Academia.
Mm.
I watched Demon Slayer after that. Now I'm currently watching Black Clover.
Okay. Okay. With the grimoire.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
Grimoires. Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Dope. 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 Okay, bro. Okay. So taking a step back, now I ask the question because I am building a something that's supposed to outlive me, which is I want to bring natural bodybuilding to the same level of Mr. Olympia, the enhanced side. I want to give athletes, future athletes, athletes that haven't even been born yet, an opportunity to stay natural and experience the level of recognition that Derek Lunsford or 8-time winning Ronnie Coleman,
Yeah, Ronnie Coleman. Yeah.
yeah, can reach, you know? And when I think about it, I think, yeah, natural physiques are super cool, but we need to do something with them. We need to do something with them because at the end of the day, if we're not pushing gear and we're not putting the cap on, how big can you get with more and more steroids? Which is literally that's the game of enhanced bodybuilding. If
Yeah.
we're just being completely honest, natural athletes aren't doing that. So what are we doing with the natural physiques? Posing.
Yeah.
And the question that I guess I would submit to you as an athlete who is competitive and wants to experience greatness within their own careers would, let's say let's say there was a tournament of natural athletes where they were rewarded on their level of posing efficiency, performance, presentation, and technique. And we were able to build it to that same level of a Mr. Olympia. Would that be acceptable? Would that be as enticing, more or less, than the pursuit of Mr. Olympia gold?
If it was on the like the level of like a Mr. Olympia type thing, yeah, I would definitely do that because posing is 100% what I focus on. I have a ton of posing clients that have like taken me as um kind of like a what's the word? They're inspired by the way that I pose and just what I do. Because like even my buddy Peyton Rifkin, shout out to him. He posted a video that like his posing was inspired by me, and that's like a really cool thing. Like I take my posing really seriously, just like showing off the art form of bodybuilding. It's not because I'm a big believer that bodybuilding isn't just big muscles, big. Like you have to present that. And I love the way, like, especially with the posing routines that people have when they're competing. Like, I love the way that people can kind of transition as efficiently as possible into different poses. And that's literally how I shaped my posing routine. It's just, okay, I'm in a front double. What's the most efficient and smooth way that I can transition into like an Arnold pose, you know? Like, that's super interesting to me. I love doing stuff like that.
Can I pitch you? I want to get better at talking about how I want this to kind of play out. Can I pitch it to you?
For sure.
Okay. So first off, the fact that you like anime, this is everything I'm about to say looks so much cooler than the anime, but we want to
Yeah.
we want to do it in real life first. And the idea is we the whole story is about how the Natty King needs to be crowned
Hmm.
in order to essentially save the sport and save the fitness industry from its own outlandish ideas of self betterment
Hmm.
through
Yeah.
the use of steroids, peptides, and never feeling like your natural human potential is enough. That's why the Natty King needs to be crowned.
Hmm.
So that storyline is supposed to play out in an anime that takes place 20 years after the first crowning of the Natty King.
Okay. Yeah.
So we want to crown the Natty King in real life, right, with an actual
Hmm.
athlete and an actual tournament, let's say consisting of 30 athletes. And then from there, we jump into an anime that plays out 20 years in the future, and we see the ripple effect of that first crowning.
Hmm.
Okay, so when I think about how we can bring posing to center stage within this storyline of the Natty King needing to be crowned, I see it slightly different than like a regular bodybuilding competition where you have how many people did you have in your class that you were lined up against when you when you were at Ben Leaders?
I would say there's about like 8 people roughly,
Okay. So
like 8 or 9
eight
people.
people, yeah, 8 people on stage, all doing side by side comparisons. Judges yells out, uh, do a bicep, front double bicep. Now everyone hits a front double bicep, right?
Hmm.
So what I want to do, so far as this tournament format is structured, is I'm looking at one on ones
Okay.
because in my opinion, the greatest moments in any sport are always about rivalries, right?
Okay.
And since bodybuilding is a relatively solo sport, or it's like a solo endeavor, I'm looking at it in the same way of a matchup like a boxing match or a UFC MMA match, right?
Yeah.
So we would have two athletes on stage at the same time,
Okay.
and styles make matches, right? So if
Mhm.
you're looking at MMA, you've got the striker and you've got the grappler. If you're looking at boxing, you've got the dancer and you've got the heavy punch, et
Mhm.
cetera, right?
Yeah.
So I've got it broken down in 3 different styles for a bodybuilding athlete, and we're gonna try to find out what your style would be if this makes sense, right?
Okay. Yeah.
All this again is within the realm of an anime, so it's going to get a little anime-y, but that's the point. That's the point. Okay,
Okay.
so the foundation principles of this concept are from Aristotle, and he presented this thing called the 3 core pillars of persuasion. And this is how you make a compelling argument to an audience, whether
Mm.
it be through speech or through body, which is what we would be talking about.
Yeah.
We've got ethos. Ethos is essentially a persuasion of standard, identity, ethics. This is who I am, and this is why I am, right?
Okay. Yeah.
We've got logos, which is logic and rational reasoning. Sequential order, making a compelling argument and saying, if you understand this, then you would also have to understand this,
Mm.
and basically moving forward in time and making it just a reasonably well sound argument, right?
Oh yeah.
And then we have pathos, which is completely persuasion through emotion and connecting with the audience in a feeling, emotionally resonating way.
Mm.
So, expression, connection, engagement, and moving a person with their hearts. How does this translate over to bodybuilding posing? For ethos would be really good for an athlete who's got like just size out the wazoo, right?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
He comes up on stage, and this is what I'm talking about with styles, right? He comes up on stage, an ethos style bodybuilding poser will come up on stage, hit a front double, and hold it for like 5 seconds, really showing it off, and then
Okay.
he transition into like another ethos style pose, which is like maybe it's like an Arnold, and he's just holding it. And as you're looking at it, it's like, whoa, this guy, this guy looks immaculate, right?
Yeah. For sure. Yeah.
So basically, ethos style posing is longer poses, less poses, but like every single time you're doing it, you look like a statue. You look like
Mm.
a Greek god. Logo style posing is shorter holds, but greater flow, greater
Mm.
connectivity. So the
Gotcha.
transitions are more fluid and you're just moving like water, right? So it's
Yeah.
like you're moving from pose to pose and you really got the technique of posing down. And then for pathos, that's like the performance aspect of it, where you got a guy going up on stage, maybe he's dancing a little, maybe
Okay.
he's like emoting with his face, maybe as the music is taking him, he's bringing the audience through a journey that feels emotionally resonated, rather than just logos, which would just be logical and sequential, or ethos, which is just like the embodiment of what it means to be I am a bodybuilder.
Okay. Yeah. Out of those three, I would definitely see myself as logos because um a lot of the poses, like even in my posing rounds, like I even described that it was a lot of methodical type posing. Like I would hit a pose, then I'd be like, okay, what's the best way I can transition to the next pose? So like every pose and every my big philosophy is no wasted movements. So I don't want to take an extra step that looks really blocky or just unorthodox when I'm doing my posing rounds. I want to make sure everything flows. So that's exactly how I would say that.
Nice, nice. Okay. Do you study posing grace? Do you have favorite posers?
Definitely the basics like Terrence Ruffin. I've looked on a lot of TikToks, kind of looking at more like posing that isn't like as known to other people, like doing a lot of anime type style poses, or like even looking at Marvel type posing, like doing Iron Man's, like the Hulk and stuff like that. I usually like to be really creative with it because I had a series when I was in prep um at my pool, and like the sun would rise at a really good spot. I would set up my camera and just kind of freestyle and just make an edit a video of that. I would also go up to my campus. The series was called Aura Farming on Mizzou's campus. I would pick really cool spots, like really high structures, and just do a lot of cool posing like that.
That's sick, man. Yeah, that lines up exactly with what the with what the vision is. When you can you are you able to picture what it might look like to have two different athletes matched up on stage stylistically? Can you can you see
Yeah,
that?
I can definitely see that. It kind of reminds me of like in the Baki series where they're like in the arena, like either Baki facing off like against Pickle, you know? Like Pickle's like a really huge, intimidating guy. Baki's a person that perfects his craft and understands
Right.
every single fighting style.
Yeah.
So like it like how I was picturing it, like maybe doing like having the two styles face to face, heads up, putting like one song on and then seeing how they move with like the beats, how the flows, and just like seeing which one pairs up better with the song and just how their presentation is.
Yeah, yeah. So very similar to what you're describing. I do have it kind of laid out as like a rock paper scissors. And the tricky part is I actually have a IG live scheduled with our slated head judge for this thing, Philip Ricardo Jr., who's
Okay.
a natural bodybuilding legend. His nickname actually is the Legend.
Oh, okay.
Um, so I have a call scheduled with him because I think the trick, not even I think, but I know that the trick will be how to actually judge this properly. Because the way that I break it down is ethos loses to logos, logos loses to pathos, pathos loses to ethos. So far as rock paper scissors, right?
Okay, yeah.
Which is not to say that if you're a logo styled poser that you have to lose to pathos. It's not to say that, but it is to show that like, oh, this logo style is going up against the pathos style, and he's got to really, really bring it in order for him to like eke out the win. That kind of thing.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I
Yeah,
can see that.
yeah. But I think because I have no idea how to actually like do that points wise, But I feel like that's the direction that we have to take it.
Yeah, that's the only thing I would think about is kind of like the way the point system would work, like maybe judging like their form on each pose, because like seeing like the first form, like he is just hitting poses, hitting them for a certain amount of time and then hitting another pose, like that can definitely, the point system could be interesting and kind of like based off of those three styles too.
Right. Yeah. So like the way I see it is you'd have a general posing judging criteria. So it's
Okay.
like whatever style you're doing, you're getting judged off of just posing in general.
Mhm.
And then you once it becomes recognized that this person is doing ethos style posing, then they're getting judged individually or like independently of that style. It's like,
Okay.
okay, how good are they doing with this ethos style posing flow
Gotcha.
compared to a logos would have its own separate logo style posing criteria, and same thing with pathos.
I can see that. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, little. Yeah, I mean, I feel like it'll get fleshed out. Like I said, I'm still just starting to pitch it to athletes and just getting their feedback on how that sounds to them.
No, yeah, that sounds like really interesting. Yeah, that, that sounds really cool. I'm not gonna lie.
Cool. Cool. Okay. Okay. And also, like, the reason I'm personally excited about this direction is because it creates less of an incentive for natural athletes. And again, if we're just playing the super long game, which is the only game that I ever play, um, there's a scenario where there's an athlete that hasn't been born yet, and he's not even like he would never even entertain the idea of, oh, I got to get as big as like Samson Dowda
Hmm.
because it's like, what's you're not getting rewarded for that, you know?
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Yeah,
Yeah,
that would be yeah, like I could definitely see it happening like in 20 plus years. Natural bodybuilding is just as on par with like actual like regular bodybuilding, like the steroid induced bodybuilding, and it leads to a generation of people that understand that like the steroids aren't they don't need to be incentivized and they don't have to be a part of the mix, you know?
yeah, yeah. Let me ask you a question as a person who is passionate about bodybuilding. Why isn't it more popular?
Bodybuilding as a sport or natural bodybuilding?
Posing.
Oh, posing. Okay. Why isn't posing more popular? Well, it's like you said, kind of the incentive of just having bigger and just more muscular physiques. I feel like that aspect of bodybuilding has became more incentivized, and in return, that's where a lot of the posing kind of deteriorated because you like in the 1970s you had Arnold that was damn near perfecting his posing. Like I know pumping iron isn't the most accurate representation of like the grand scheme of bodybuilding, but it showed like the artistic forms like Arnold going into ballet classes and like really practicing how to flow with that. But you see now that's a lot less of the factors. Like the only person you see doing that is Terrence Ruffin. Actually, because like Terrence Ruffin, that's the big reason that he's an inspiration for me because he's turned it into a lot less of a like bodybuilding being on stage, but he turned it into a lot more of an art form.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, yeah, you're definitely hitting the point. When I think about the history of bodybuilding, and you think of like the golden era, which a lot of people look back on with a lot of nostalgia. They've got the nostalgia eyes, where oh, the golden era was the best era. You've
Yeah,
got Arnold Schwarzenegger, you've got Frank Zane, you've got Tom Platz and Mike Menser and Danny Padilla, and a lot of really, really cool names. And they're all bringing something different, something unique, something you would even say iconic to the stage with how
yeah,
they present their physiques. Where when you fast forward many, many years down the line, the only idea of iconic in the sport of bodybuilding, I just don't see it anymore. I, yeah,
yeah. And I feel like the iconic part of bodybuilding was lost because bodybuilders now they're not trying to branch out and do things that aren't as related to fitness and bodybuilding because for example Arnold he tried to act in movies. He was a governor at one point. Like he was doing many other things that were outside of his bodybuilding and fitness realm. And the fact that he was a handsome guy and he had the physique that many people desired and wanted to have, that's what really elevated his career as well. And you don't really see that too much anymore. Like bodybuilders, they base a lot of their life just on bodybuilding. Like if they're not working out, they're meal prepping. If they're not meal prepping, they're doing business for a supplement based company. So all of their life is just based in the fitness realm, and that's where I feel like the iconic word of bodybuilding is lost because they're not willing to branch out into movies and they're not willing to branch out into like commercials or just anything that get people not in the fitness industry to see these other guys because you see baseball players and you see football players doing pizza commercials. They do a lot of other things like LeBron James. He is doing commercials. He's making shoes. He donates to charity, and he's a worldwide name. Chris Bumstead, he has his companies, he has his supplements. He's he's gone to fitness expos, and if you go into some third world country that doesn't have a ton of like media knowledge, they wouldn't know who Chris Bumstead is. But if you ask them who LeBron James is, they'll tell you, you know?
yeah, yeah. I get what you're saying, and I guess Chris Bumstead would have to be the best example of a modern day icon in the sport of bodybuilding, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, interesting. Hmm. and you mentioned movies. In your opinion, as a person who loves film and has produced a movie and starred in stuff, um, who do you think's, again, whatever you say is whatever, but like, who do you think's more marketable for? Uh, would you rather see a natural athlete in a movie in bodybuilding, or would you rather see an enhanced athlete? And I'm talking
Ooh,
like top of the food chain on either side.
ooh, okay. Hmm. That definitely that's an interesting question. If it wasn't on the bodybuilding stage and just in like a movie, I would definitely say like the natural physique because it's like you said, a lot of people desire just that more kind of natural and just not the oversized, overproportioned physique. And in many ways, that kind of lowers the attractiveness of a man's physique if you're too big, you know? So seeing that in a movie, you would want that physique that is more desirable. Because, like, even Hollywood standards, because in that one movie, Magazine Dreams, the the star actor didn't have like a super big bodybuilding physique, you know? I'm pretty sure he was probably enhanced, but it wasn't like the over proportioned, oversized physique that we see in
Yeah,
a current bodybuilding stage.
yeah, yeah. I see. Yeah, so we're arriving at the understanding that what natural bodybuilding needs is essentially what do you call that at an airport? You've got the airplane on the ground.
Okay.
It's about to take off.
Uh-huh.
A landing.
Oh, I think I know what you're talking about. I just can't think of it myself. Uh,
Uh, an airway, an air.
yeah, but yeah, I think with like the when it comes to like finding a natural icon, it needs to branch out outside of bodybuilding. It needs to have its structure, like in its foundation in bodybuilding, but it needs to branch out and bloom into other areas of the word iconic, I would say.
Yeah. So we need an Arnold.
Yeah.
Yeah, we need an Arnold. Yeah. Okay, I'm down. Um, who are your favorite? Who are your favorite contemporaries? Who are your favorite rivals in the sport of bodybuilding?
In the sport of bodybuilding,
Yeah, let's say, because I get the whole allure of being top 10 in Mr. Olympia, cool. But right now you're natural.
mhm,
And let's say over the course of your career, we will definitively have an understanding of who the greatest natural bodybuilder is. And your name is in contention.
okay.
Who are you looking at as competition? And let's say that means something. Let's say going down in history as the greatest natural bodybuilder in your era actually means something.
Okay. I would say Prosper. He is a big guy in the natural fitness realm that one he when he's going for the Mr. Olympia this coming year. Also my boy Matt, who also competed in the Ben Weeders.
Happy Tally?
Yeah, yeah. That's I actually met him at the Ben Weeders. Shout out to him. He's a super cool dude. But those two guys in particular would definitely be like my rivals. And also Christian Ricketts. His Instagram handle
Whoa.
Swole Ricketts. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
He would he's definitely a dude that I kind of see not like as a friendly rivalry. It's not like I hate this dude's guts. Like he's such a cool dude because actually he went to the University of Missouri at when I went there, and we actually worked out at the same gym before he like absolutely blew up. Going to Texas and stuff like that. I always saw him as like an inspiration, and now that like we're kind of on the same playing field, I definitely want to see how I can stack up against him too.
Okay, so Prosper, Matt, Swole Ricketts. Those are some good names.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. And of those guys, who do you think has the opportunity, and feel free to name yourself, who do you think has the opportunity to transcend the sport in the way that you're describing that natural bodybuilding needs to do? There needs to be an individual who pulls an Arnold and has their eyes beyond just bodybuilding and fitness.
I personally think that Swole could be that guy because ever since like I've been a part of, well, I've seen his journey, it transitioned into like him just having a fitness account to then him winning his pro card. But then after he won his pro card, that's where his career really transcended. Like he does a lot of lifestyle content. He does a lot of collaborations with other companies. Like he's still doing Shark stuff. And his career's definitely just taken much more of a high ground. And he's even getting into like powerlifting stuff. Like he's very versatile with how he entertains like his followers.
Okay, okay, this is cool. Prosper, maybe as a follow up, maybe or
I'd say Prosper's probably the follow up there.
okay. What's up with him getting accused of not being natural?
Oh man, I remember Greg Doucette made a video about him, I think being on enclomiphene, if I'm not mistaken,
Hmm.
looking at his blood work and a lot of other stuff, and it claimed that he wasn't natural. I I really don't read into a ton of that stuff. As long as I don't know, like it's definitely a fishy situation. Um, I don't know either of them personally. I've only met Prosper like once or twice. Being in Virginia at the Ben Weeders. Never met Greg Doucette in my life.
Greg does.
But
Greg thinks everyone's lying.
oh, Greg thinks everyone's lying?
Yeah,
Interesting.
yeah. I've met him. We've hung out.
Yeah,
Um, yeah, he thinks everyone's lying. So
interesting.
yeah, but I don't know. We didn't even get into like the whole natural or not debate because I
I feel
think
like it's
it
such a
doesn't
mixed
matter.
bag, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, like it gets to a point where like you just gotta believe you sometimes just gotta believe somebody for their word. Like people say, like people have swore up and down that I'm not natural, and and like people have thought I've been pinning in my quad because it's so much different than my other one. People claim since I have like gynecomastia that I'm unnatural. I always tell them that like I developed gynecomastia through puberty and the like was just from surgery, but people just choose not to believe that and just kind of take it as as the Bible that I'm unnatural. You know, it just gets to a point where it's word of mouth, and until somebody is willing to pay for my blood tests, I'm just gonna keep saying I'm natural because that's my truth. You know.
Yeah, and I guess this is completely almost irrelevant, but it's not all. It's not going to remain irrelevant. But blood tests don't absolve a person of their claim, or like it doesn't make them innocent.
Oh yeah, that's 100%. I 100% agree with you. It's definitely claiming they're natural in the short term, and it in that kind of it gets into the realm of like the validity of certain tests. Like it gets to a point where if you truly want to be natural, you'd have to do like random blood tests just throughout your entire career and just throughout your life. You know, it kind of gets to that mixed bag of just like you eventually have to believe somebody. You know, like it. I understand that's not the best way to know if somebody's natural or not, but at
So
least in my case, I just don't have any reason to lie, you know?
yeah, man. No, personally, I'll give you like a little sneak peek into like the whole master plan.
Yeah.
So I have aspirations of taking over the world, and
Yeah.
I'm looking at like the bridge between dishonesty within politics
Mm.
and dishonesty within the fitness industry,
Okay.
right? Like
Yeah.
there's a parallel there, right?
No, for sure. Yeah.
So a person walks up on camera and says, "Hey, I'm a lifetime natural, and I'm selling you these supplements, and you should buy this product." And then all the comments are like, "There's no way you're a lifetime natural. You're a liar. Yada yada yada."
Yeah. Yeah.
Jump over into politics, world government, shit like that. I promise you that if you elect me, I will lower taxes. And like, oh, you're not going to lower taxes, yada yada. So it's like there's a parallel there, right? So from my perspective, as a person who has worldly aspirations, if I can figure out how to get people to believe in others with like an honest platform, focusing on transparency, virtuosity, moral integrity, and building a platform like that where I only feature individuals who fit that bill.
Mhm.
First, we start in fitness industry. with conversations like these. Then we
Okay, yeah.
transition into Hollywood entertainment industry, and the entire time we're keeping that same moral framework of like honesty, moral integrity, high character value, right? And
Yeah.
then we transition into politics. The entire time we're taking the audience on this journey from fitness industry to entertainment industry into the political system.
Hmm.
And by the time we make it into the political system, we've already got 10, 20 years of reputation of
Yeah.
building that platform of just being completely face forward, transparent, honest, virtue ethics type of individuals.
No, for sure. I 100% agree with that because that's what the fitness industry needs. Like the fitness industry needs to know that there are certain people within it that truly have like that moral dilemma where like they're actually being truthful and like they need to have an audience that believe that they're being truthful, and
Yeah,
not just not and it doesn't and it's not them just having to prove themselves to be to to continuously prove themselves being truthful like 24/7. It can just be a platform where, okay, I say this and then, everybody just believe me. Maybe once in a while I'll have to prove my points, but overall everybody will believe the things that are coming out of my mouth.
and the thing that I've discovered over the past like 2 years of having of working on this project is that the honest people, the people with high moral character, they're not really that interested in the spotlight. They're not really that interested in presenting themselves as the moral good in a debate or a conversation for natural human potential.
Yeah.
Reason being is because the individuals who seek out the spotlight, their goal is the spotlight. Their goal is not to arrive at the spotlight and still be honest and still be like have good moral character. Their
No,
goal
yeah.
is, yeah, if I get this recognition, the quality of my life will improve. And that's why you have people like Arnold Schwarzenegger, who he lied. He did manipulation tactics in order to reach his goal of 6 or 7 time Mr. Olympia.
Yeah.
And he brought that personality and the things that he was willing to do into Hollywood, and he brought that into politics.
Yeah.
So what we're describing is literally a counterculture to the like motivations, the typical motivations of star athletes, star movie stars, and star politicians.
That's yeah, I fuck with that. That's really cool. Like it's definitely a different contrast between like what Arnold did because people don't understand how much of a like just how much of an impact Arnold had on like all of these industries. Like you said, he lied and manipulated a lot in the fitness industry. Then he transitioned into Hollywood, which is almost as corrupt as like it is ever been. And then politics, and you already know how much of a
Yeah,
can of worms politics are right now.
yeah. So yeah, we're definitely talking about a counterculture where
For sure.
we can achieve the same type of success, only ensure that we don't have to sacrifice our own moral character and goodness in order to do it.
For sure. For sure.
Cool, man. Well, dude, this was great.
Yeah.
Um, you got any takeaways? Any things? Obviously, this is like an open format, so like we can always do this again in the future. But this was
Yeah,
awesome.
for sure. I really mess with like this message and just kind of what you guys are really shooting for because like as like I kind of just got into posting on social media this past like year and a half and I understand like how corrupt it can be because people are just a lot of people in the fitness industry are just money hungry people that don't truly care about others and just their benefit. They only care about like how they can benefit from the fame that they've created.
Mm,
So you creating a platform that can eventually create a platform that not only promotes the person that's at the highest of highs, but also encourages the other people to really kind of rise up and be the best version of themselves as well.
that's the vision, man. That's
Yeah,
the vision.
man.
Well, dude, I thank you so much for your time. You're a cool guy to talk to. I like
I
chatting.
appreciate it, man, for
Yeah,
sure.
man. We should do it again sometime.
No, for sure. Just text me. I'm
You
down.
you got a show this year?
No, I'm only gonna be I'm gonna be bulking up this year. Like I said, the 230 weight cap. I definitely gotta hit that.
Oh, bro. All right, we got my support.
Yeah, I appreciate it, brother.
All
Thank
right,
you.
I'll talk to you.
You as well.
Peace.